Welcome back to Dark Screen Confessions. Story 1. The Inheritance of Lies. Our first story tonight is a confession that was kept under lock and key for over 30 years. Some secrets are carried to the grave, but this one? It was born from a grave. Let's dive in. My grandfather was a very wealthy man, and everyone in our family knew it. He owned real estate, offshore accounts, and an antique collection worth millions. But he was also a tyrant. He controlled everyone with his money. When he passed away 3 years ago, the entire family gathered at his mansion for the reading of the will. My parents, my aunts, my uncles, everyone was smiling, pretending to be sad, but secretly counting the dollars in their heads. The lawyer opened the envelope. The room went dead silent. Grandfather left absolutely everything to a woman named Clara. No one knew who Clara was. My mother screamed. My uncle punched a wall. They thought Clara was a secret mistress who seduced an old man. The family spent months trying to sue, trying to break the will. But the paperwork was flawless. Clara got the money, and the family got nothing. They never found Clara because Clara didn't exist. I know this because I am the one who created her. You see, during the final year of my grandfather's life, I was his full-time caretaker. Everyone else ignored him, waiting for him to die. One night, while he was heavily medicated, he told me something that chilled my blood. He confessed that 40 years ago, he intentionally ruined my father's and my uncle's first businesses to keep them dependent on him. He loved controlling them. He loved watching them beg. He laughed as he told me this, saying, "They will inherit my money, but they will always know I owned them." That night, looking at his cruel, smiling face, something inside me snapped. I used my background in digital design and a few dark web connections to create a completely fake identity. Clara Evans. Over the next 6 months, using grandfather's laptop, biometric fingerprint pads while he slept, and forged power of attorney documents, I slowly altered his digital will. I made it look like he had been secretly transferring assets to a private trust under Clara's name for years. When he died, the lawyer simply read what was on the official system. Today, my family is broke, forcing them to actually work for a living. And me? I live in a beautiful apartment in a country they can't afford to visit. Every month, a wire transfer arrives from a trust managed by Clara. My family still searches for the mystery woman who stole their fortune. They will never find her, because she's sitting right across from them at Thanksgiving dinner, passing the gravy. Story 2. The couch in room 404. I used to work as a night shift IT administrator for a major financial firm. The building was massive, 20 floors, but after 11 p.m. it was completely empty, except for me and the security guards. It was a lonely job, but it gave me access to everything. Every server, every camera, every digital footprint. On the 4th floor, there was a small, unused archive room, room 404. Inside was just old tax paperwork and a leather couch. One night, around 2 a.m., I noticed a strange spike in the network data coming from the 4th floor. I checked the security cameras. The hallway was dark, but when I checked the internal logs of room 404, someone had manually disabled the camera inside the room. Curious, I walked down the dark hallway and listened at the door. What I heard changed my life forever. It was our CEO, a man who constantly gave speeches about family values and integrity. And with him was the head of HR. They weren't having an affair. It was much worse. They were discussing a massive embezzlement scheme. They were systematically altering the pension funds of lower-level employees who were about to retire, redirecting millions into offshore accounts. I stood in the dark corridor, my heart hammering against my ribs. If I went to the police, they had the money and power to hire the best lawyers and blame it on an IT glitch. They could destroy my life with a single phone call. So, I didn't go to the police. Instead, I went back to my desk and activated a tiny, hidden microphone built into the smart thermostat of room 404, a feature management didn't even know existed. For the next 6 months, room 404 became my personal reality show. I recorded every meeting, every document name, every bank account number they whispered on that leather couch. I compiled a massive, encrypted file. On the day the CEO was set to retire with a $20 million bonus, I sent the file. Not to the police, not to the FBI. I sent it to every single employee in the company email directory, from the vice presidents to the janitors. Simultaneously, the file was leaked to the financial press. The chaos was beautiful. The CEO was arrested at the airport. The HR director turned herself in the next morning. The pension funds were fully recovered and restored to the employees. The company collapsed, but the innocent workers were protected. They never found out who leaked the data. To this day, the media refers to the whistleblower as an anonymous hacker group. I still have the leather couch. When the company liquidated its assets, I bought it at an auction for $50. It sits in my living room now. A constant reminder that the loudest voices often have the darkest secrets. Story 3. The Double Life of Mr. Harris. 10 years ago, I was a troubled high school student. I didn't fit in. My grades were terrible, and the school principal, Mr. Harris, made it his personal mission to make my life miserable. He was a strict, cold man who looked down on anyone who wasn't perfect. He suspended me twice for minor infractions and openly told my parents I would end up in prison. Everyone in the town respected Mr. Harris. He was a pillar of the community, a church deacon, and a family man. One rainy Friday evening, I stayed late to finish a detention assignment in the library. It was past 7 p.m. The school was pitch black. As I walked down the main corridor to leave, I saw a light shining from the bottom of Mr. Harris's office door. Then I heard a loud crash, like glass shattering. I crept closer and peeked through the small window. The pristine, perfectly organized office of Mr. Harris was a disaster area. Files were thrown everywhere, and Mr. Harris was sitting on the floor, surrounded by empty whiskey bottles, weeping uncontrollably. But that wasn't the shocking part. On his desk was a glowing laptop screen displaying a specialized encrypted database. I recognized the interface. It was a tracking system for international art smuggling. Mr. Harris wasn't just a boring high school principal. For the past 15 years, he had been using the school's international student exchange program as a front to move stolen, high-value antiquities across borders inside the students' luggage without their knowledge. He chose troubled kids like me to be the mules, because if the bags were caught, the police would immediately blame the delinquent student, not the respected principal. My blood ran cold. The reason he targeted me wasn't because he wanted me to do better. He was setting me up to take the fall for his next shipment. I didn't say a word. I took out my phone, snapped clear photos of the laptop screen, the shipping logs on his desk, and his drunken state. The next morning, I mailed a flash drive containing the images to the federal authorities from an anonymous public mailbox. 2 days later, during morning announcements, 3 federal agents walked into the school and led Mr. Harris out in handcuffs. The town was in absolute shock. The news covered it for weeks. Mr. Harris is currently serving a 20-year sentence in a federal penitentiary. The school got a new principal. The exchange program was completely overhauled, and my record was completely cleared. Everyone in my hometown still wonders who the brave whistleblower was that brought down the town's biggest criminal. They think it was a professional sting operation. They have no idea it was just a scared kid with bad grades holding a cheap smartphone in the dark. Dark Screen Confessions, where secrets never stay buried.